All right, 10:30. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining. So I'm Rob Klein, Product Marketing Manager for Traceability, and today I am working as the Master of Ceremonies for this meeting as well. So Chris is out teaching a class right now, and Julie is out on some well-earned vacation. So today I'm wearing two hats. I'm wearing the Master of Ceremonies, and then you'll also hear from me on some updates for traceability in the middle section. So to kick us off, what do we have today? So quick agenda. We're going to run through around the horn, have updates from most of the product portfolios. Been a lot of new things recently, and a lot of exciting things to discuss. But before we get into the details of the new products, I do have one upcoming event to highlight. So just into early 2026, we're going to be at Photonics West 17th through the 22nd of January. So obviously invite everybody to join us there, send customers our way. And of course, lots of other smaller activities going on, and then lots more going on later in 2026. And we'll be happy to share those informations as they become available. So with that, I'm going to turn it off to our first presenter for some networking portfolio update, Mr. Shashir Reggae. Take it away, Shashir.
Thank you, Rob. I'm Shishir Regge, Product Marketing Manager. The slides actually prepared by Anjesh, who's also a Product Marketing Manager for networking. I'm just covering up for him today. But I have a couple of quick, exciting things to share about our networking portfolio. And the first thing is the availability of a new industrial protocol with our IO-Link masters. It's the modbus TCP. It's long awaited. We've been asked about this for years. Finally, we are able to support these customers. So that means we got some new opportunities, new customers to see to promote the Balluff IO-Link. It's the same blocks, same order codes. We just need an updated firmware. So please contact your local TAS to get the updated firmware or figure out how to get that updated firmware. That updated firmware can also be updated to the blocks using the BET tool. So just a reminder, the Modbus TCP is not on our legacy products like a BNI 006A or a 5Edge or E1, those types of products. They are not supported with Modbus TCP. All the latest and greatest black line, silver line products are supported with Modbus TCP. So entry line, standard line, advanced line, everything is available as well. The second update I have is we also updated with this new firmware version. We have the auto detect feature, which helps us leapfrog the competition, especially on the black line portfolio where we don't have a display. This automatically detects the underlying industrial protocol and figures it out and sets an default IP address if it needs one. So in case of Ethernet IP or Modbus TCP, it will put a default IP address, which of course you can change it through the PLC, you can change it through the BET tool, several different ways to do that as well. So how does this help? This helps faster commissioning. That means we don't have to first connect these black lines, especially the black line blocks, to another PC to set the protocol, set the IP address, and all those things are things of the past. All we have to do is set an IP address once the protocol is detected. So I'm really excited. This actually gives us a lot more ability to work with our masters now, especially with another Modbus TCP. So Schneider PLCs or if you have SCADA systems, those are the great additions to collect data from or send data to from the IO-Link master. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Rob Klein, to talk more about the traceability. Take it over, Rob.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Shashir. And so yes, and I'll take off that hat and put my traceability product marketing manager hat back on, and we'll run through some exciting updates here. So, as a reminder, probably the biggest part of certainly the biggest part of my role at Balluff is still RFID. I've had a lot of people ask me, "Hey, what's going on with the RFID portfolio?" We haven't heard a lot about that recently, and I'm excited to say we do have some big updates coming up soon. But before we do that, we have another BVS Vision Sensor update. So. That's where we've been spending a lot of R&D and got some exciting things to share on that product today. So what's new? New tools. So we actually weren't expecting to come out with these tools, and it's coming earlier than expected. So as a reminder, we had object finder, presence check, object verification right from the beginning. We added a couple of edge tools, but today we're adding not just edge count, but edge measurement tool, and we're also adding an OCR tool. These were requested by customers for specific applications, and also as a general request. This is something we run into often in the field, and I'm very excited to say that they're available now in both the vision sensor version and the ident sensor version. So of course, the ident sensor is the code reading, but of course, lots of barcodes, labels may have a little human readable beneath the barcode. And so it made sense for us to bring that tool to that product as well. This is all firmware update, free of charge. So it's not on the website yet, but if you want to get your hands on the firmware now, you can reach out to me or reach out to your local sales engineer, and they'll be able to get you the firmware, but it will be up on the website soon. One thing I will mention on the edge measurement tool, some of our communication early on with this product was it's not a measurement device. And even though we are bringing out a measurement tool now, I would still reiterate that caution. It's not a measurement device. There is some distortion around the edges of the image due to the liquid lens that we use, the small S-mount lens. So if you're talking about micron level accuracy, this is still not the right tool for it. But for sure, there's lots of applications that are just general is something about the right size. And this edge measure tool allows you to easily configure that and deploy that, which is great. Also, we have a new version of the product, new hardware version that we wanted to make people aware of. This is a C-mount style optic, so it allows you full flexibility for what lens you want to use with the device. This is not going to be on the website, at least for now. This is a back pocket product, but if you have applications where we need longer range or a different field of view, wanted to make the channel, everybody aware that this is something that's available. Again, you won't see it on the website, but feel free to reach out to me or reach out to your local sales engineer if you have an application for it. It's available, it can be sold, and we wanted to make sure everyone was aware of the product's existence because for sure there's applications where it makes sense. And I will say, this is a vision sensor, a barcode reader, relatively low dollar, right? So it doesn't make sense to spend a lot of effort into trying to solve extremely complex vision applications for what ends up being a $1,500 sensor. And so I would caution, don't let the existence of a C-mount make this a science project type of tool. We really want to use this back pocket product as a way to go after high volume, big opportunities that just need a different field of view and a different range, where that extra effort on the front end of design with speccing out the right lens and the right field of view and the right lighting will pay off over and over again. And that's the idea behind this product. And one other thing I wanted to talk about this product, we've had it out for a while now, and I wanted to share really what we've been getting the best feedback and the best success around is really selling the product as part of a full architecture. And as a reminder, like this is really where the customers have been telling us they're feeling the most pain with their existing vision sensors, vision systems, is this wiring. So remember, really every competitor that we have in the marketplace, they use some sort of custom cabling, 12-pin, 18-pin cable that ends up being terminated into a terminal strip in the wiring cabinet. And remember, this is what it looks like, right? It doesn't necessarily look nasty and look difficult. to install when you're just looking at the camera. But remember, this is what it looks like back in the controls cabinet. And so I wanted to walk everyone through kind of what that architecture looks like, 'cause it's important to keep this in the front of mind. So in a single camera solution where we're just taking one camera and maybe we're controlling a stack light, as you see on the left here. So everything that's a gray line in this picture is some sort of custom cabling or cabling that requires individual termination in the terminal strip. And so the stack light, has terminations. The I/O, if you're using old school home run I/O, each of that needs to be terminated. The camera's got 18 connections. And if you're running an external light, that may need to be terminated back in the controls cabinet as well to synchronize the lighting. Looking at the I/O link solution with one camera, even just a single camera, we remove all those manual terminations and move to quick disconnect cables, and that's what's being highlighted with these yellow cables. And so even with a single camera, you get to reap some benefit in the architecture and save time and save money and save installation hassle. But of course, most installations aren't just one camera, and so if we scale that up to a typical like a 5-camera solution, you can see the savings really start compounding. So 90 individual connections for a 5-camera solution. And by the way, this is no external lighting. This is just single built-in lighting. You're eliminating 90 cable connections, 5 IP addresses, 5 cable runs, and 8 times less networking burden. So, I wanted to bring this up and take a little extra time today to go through this because this is something that customers love to hear about because it saves a lot of time and a lot of money. And even if they're just buying a single camera, it's worth mentioning this architecture to them because our competitors are not talking about it. And so it really is a good differentiator for Balluff. And to support that, I wanted to mention we've got a couple of marketing activities going on around the product right now. So we did the Vision Spectre conference. We had pretty good attendance with that, with 400 attendees. And then we've got an email blast going out now. Last week was the first one. We're going to send a couple of follow-ups coming up. So obviously this is Balluff directly communicating with the customers, but we don't want this to be just a direct play. We want to share in the journey with this. So ideally, we want to bring people on board, generate leads, and grow the sales in the way that is easiest for the customer. And obviously, we see the channel, especially with Vision products, as adding a ton of value to that chain. So hopefully, we can generate more interest and get the product in front of more people because it really does show well, and we've had good success with it so far. And obviously, I mentioned a couple of things like that back pocket unit and the new firmware. So if you'd like to find more information about that, I wanted to include my contact information. Feel free to reach out to me directly, or obviously your local sales engineer for more information. And so with that, let me go ahead and hand it off to Mr. Logan Welch for an update on some inductive sensors.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. So as many as you know, I cover the core sensors here at Balluff, and I don't have anything new for today, but I do want to take a minute to dive into what we refer to mini block sensors. I know many of you probably have customers that use them, and I want to go over, the different variants of them and very minute changes that could be a big issue if you don't catch them and make sure you're speccing the right part for your customers. So today, for all these that don't know, mini block or chiclet, sometimes they're referred to the Q20. We're going to better define that, and then we're going to dive a little deeper into the welding specific ones. So here's just a few of the variants. We have different type of cables, different type of connections, different type of coatings, and really, if you take a broader look at it, the sky's the limit. We have several. So what is a mini block, right? Well, it's small and it's a block. So it's a cubed sensor with a circular inductive head. Usually they're the 16 by 8 by 4, almost 5 millimeters. But I'm going to show you how that's sometimes deceiving, and we want to catch that when looking at the different variants. Usually they have a connector. So it's either going to be an M12 or an M8. We do have, flying leads if you want that too. And they're all going to have this recessed mounting hole here, and then the sensing face. And these are meant to be, tight real estate, close proximity, a lot of times in like a nest or some type of clamping mechanism. Um, Great solution to get away from a barrel style or cylindrical style proximity sensor, again, for just design reasons and um, real estate. So anyway, they usually have a range from about 1 to 2 millimeters. And again, that's because we're not sensing stuff across the room with these, right? This is a proximity sensor. We're going to close proximity. And because of that sensing face being so small, the range is pretty close. The body materials can change, like I mentioned. They can be plastic, they can be brass, they can be stainless steel, and we're going to dive into that. And then the sensing face as well. So if that sensing face comes in contact with stuff, we want to make sure we're selecting the right face. The jacketed material, basically everything we can make a cable out of, we can put on that little pigtail or that little cable lead. So again, a lot of different options. Actually, there's 39 different options. If you looked at our website and just typed in R04, R12, and R13, which are the three families, you'd have 39 different versions to pick. What I want to emphasize today is if you're dealing with welding or metal stamping or high heat, some impact type applications, we're going to narrow it down for you. So here are the three families: R04, R12, and R13. Again, they're all going to be referred to as a chiclet. They all look very similar to the naked eye. If you saw a bunch of them in a tool crib bin, you're probably not going to differentiate the difference between the 04, the 12, and the 13. But there are differences. So the 04 is the standard stuff, so this is going to be probably about 30 to 35 of those 39 different variants are going to be in the R4 style. And they're going to have either a plastic or a brass housing. You can get them in M8 or M12. You can get them in a plastic or ceramic face. The sensing range is about the same. There's a small indicator light on this chiclet sensor. This is universal across all the families, but that little dot there, that's actually an output indicator. Like I'm sensing metal. Standard stuff, PNP, NPN. And the dimensions are the standard, what you consider chiclet or Q20 or mini block. And there's a recessed mounting hole, like we mentioned. The switching frequency is good. But again, this is best for just general factory automation. This is not designed for high impact or high heat. So when we jump into something that's best for welding and stamping, we jump to the R12 or the R13. And it's hard to tell. And just to kind of show you, these pictures are both scaled to the same size. The R12 is the one with the connector flying off there to the M8, and you can see it's just slightly longer. You see that mounting hole? You have just a couple more millimeters there. That's because it technically is a little bigger. It's a few millimeters longer, as you can see in the dimension there. And the reason I want to point this out to our sales channel today is it can get us in trouble if we spec in the R4 and it's high heat, high impact, because of some really cool features the R12 has that the R4 doesn't. So these items in red is what sets it apart. Stainless steel housing. It's going to take a little bit better of a beating, right? You can get it in a silicone coated cable, not a sleeve, but an actual silicone coating on the cable itself. The ceramic sensing face, better for impact. A little bit faster, so it's a higher switching frequency. So that's why it's really designed for welding. So if you have some customers that are using the R04 in a high heat, high impact welding application, take a look, have a talk with them. We might want to get them switched to the R12. They're going to have a lot better life with that sensor. There's a slightly different variant too in the R13. It's a little bit longer. We developed this to just capture some more business. It's a kind of a Me Too product with one of our competitors. So that's kind of why it's a drop in for competitors. I would emphasize just stay with the R12 unless they need the R13. But really, it's just going to give you a little bit longer size, and it's PNP only. So just keep that in mind. But the R12 is really the way to go. I just wanted to point out there is a 13. Sometimes it's a direct replacement for some Turk products. Okay, so why do we not want to use the O4 when it comes to welding, right? Okay, it's a silicone tube, not coating. Silicone tubes are great. Takes abrasion, weld slag, heat, but it creates a cavity that weld slag can build up because it's not a part of the jacket. So there's that. The ceramic face, but it's a flush body. Again, it's hard to tell, and you got to have two of them in your hand because these things are so small. But the sensing face is actually flush to the body on the R04. On the R12, it's slightly recessed, a fraction of a millimeter, but that gains you life when it comes to impact with the sensing face. This body is brass in the R4. That's just good. It's a metal body, but brass can bend and move a little bit. It also doesn't dissipate heat as well. So just slightly different than the one I'd recommend. And then in that flush face body material, this is an M8 connector, that's the lowest MSRP. So a lot of times we want to jump to the solution and be like, hey, this is a good fit for your application because it's a lower cost sensor and it has a silicone jacket and it's a metal body. And we just think that's welding, right? Well, there's better solutions, and that's what these two are. So if you are looking at welding applications, I would push you to these two products specifically. If they need an M8 or an M12, this one here on your right, the 5P2 actually has an indication light in the connector, which is really handy, especially if you're doing distributed I/O. And obviously this sensor is going to be mounted up into something that's you probably can't see anyway. So I would lean towards these, and here's the reasons why. That silicone jacket, the slightly recessed ceramic face, and stainless steel body, and again the different options for connectors. So take a good look at what your customers are using. A big red flag and something to kind of look for an outlier is if they're going through a lot of any of the RO4 family chiclets at a high rate. It might be you might think to yourself, hey, that's good, that's repeat business, but it could tarnish our brand. It could tarnish our reputation. So we want to make sure the product that is specifically designed for their application is being used. And again, it's really easy to miss because there's such a slight, minute detail in the differences. So anyway, I just wanted to keep that conversation going. If you do have some welding customers specifically that you want to talk to me about, please reach out. I'd be happy to help. I'd be happy to talk to your customer, make them aware of the other products we have that might best suit them. Then that conversation leads into distributed I/O with weld slag resistance or cabling, shielding, stuff like that. So please reach out. I'd be happy to help. If you want to know some numbers, I can run a report for you too and see what you sold where. So I'm here to help. I just wanted to touch base on the chiclet sensors, make sure everyone was up to speed on what we have and specifically for welding. And with that, I'll pass it over to Scott.
Thanks, Logan, and thanks everyone for joining us. We're in the home stretch here. I am Scott Rosenberger. I'm the product marketing manager for positioning products here at Balluff. And I just have a couple of topics today for you. The first one is going to be a bit of a review. I want to talk a little bit about our magnetic field sensors. We've covered these products in a previous session, but I wanted to, it's been a minute, and I wanted to go over these again to kind of reinforce some ideas here. So when we talk about Balluff's magnetic field sensor offering, I'd like you to think in terms of sort of a good, better, best mentality here. And by that, I mean selecting the right product for the application and the other considerations involved in the sales opportunity. So when we talk about those requirements, we're talking about things like, is the requirement for a continuous position sensing sensor or a discrete on-off position sensor? Other things, is IO link in play? Do they need an IO link communication or IO-Link sensor. What kind of accuracy requirements are there? What kind of range requirements are there? Environmental considerations. Is it going to be used in a welding application? For example, we have products that are well suited for that. And of course, as always, price is going to be a consideration in any particular sales opportunity. So as we start on sort of the good side, the good enough side, the good, just meeting the requirements of the application. For cost-sensitive applications, we have a T-slot product. This is a discrete on-off sensor that is designed for mounting in T-slot pneumatic cylinders or grippers. This is going to be the best price performance ratio product that we offer in the magnetic field sensor line. So it's going to be a low cost product, and it's going to be competitive with what you're likely to face out there in terms of things like low cost reed switches, perhaps provided by the cylinder manufacturer on the cylinder. Got a lot of cost-effective accessories that go along with this product. One big technical feature of this product is the auto-detect magnet polarization. This will work with cylinders and grippers with either axially polarized magnets or radially polarized magnets. It doesn't come into play a lot, but when it does, it can cause big problems. And this sensor will automatically just work with either a radially or axially polarized magnet. As I said, this is only a T-slot version. And really the target with these sensors is to go in and displace maybe, low cost reed switches that may not be that robust and may fail over time. And, a reed switch is a mechanical contact sort of a device, whereas these are non-contact magnetoresistive technology. So that's an important consideration. So a better product at a competitive price with cheap reed switches. As we kind of move up the ladder here, I'm kind of in the better category now, and I'm a little bit of a cop-out perhaps, but what I'm calling better is basically the rest of our BMF magnetic field sensor line. If you're not familiar with it, take a look. We've got a lot of different options for a lot of different cylinders. T-slot, C-slot, tubular cylinders, lots of different mounting accessories, lots of different form factors, lots of different capabilities, and we can offer these at very competitive prices. So that's basically our standard, basically the everything else in the BMF line. Take a look at those products. I mentioned earlier sensors for welding applications. We do have a magnetic field sensor that is expressly or explicitly designed for welding applications. This is the weld immune magnetic sensor. If it's not obvious, magnetically based sensors often have a hard time in welding environments. The high electromagnetic fields in welding applications can often cause false triggers. These sensors have built-in circuitry to basically suppress those fields or ignore those electromagnetic fields. And so for welding applications, this is your go-to. Some other characteristics of this sensor are going to be TP and silicone-based cable options to protect from weld spatter. Damage from weld spatter. There is an IO-Link version of this sensor, which offers a little bit more capability instead of just turning on and off. This also offers some condition monitoring features in terms of the temperature and switching cycles and things like that. These are only available in a T-slot version at present, and the target market here is going to be basically automotive OEMs and tier one, basically welding applications, of course. Moving up to the kind of the best category here, we're kind of going to move away from discrete sensing, and you're going to encounter applications out there that require more than just an on-off sensor. When you do, please know that we have magnetic field sensors that will provide continuous position feedback from a pneumatic cylinder or a gripper. We've got two series of these. We've got a newer product there up on the top of the screen that we call the BMP02. The one on the bottom is the BMP01, by the way. These are both continuous position sensors. These offer analog, so 0 to 10 or 4 to 20 milliamp outputs, and I/O link interfaces as well, all in the same product, by the way. You don't have to order one or the other. You can order one sensor and the customer can use that as either an analog device or an I/O link device. These are completely field programmable, so they're programmable by the user. They have integrated set points. They have stroke lengths up to 256 millimeters in the case of the BMP-01 and a stroke length of 22 millimeters on the BMP-02. Here's just a couple application examples, I guess, to put it in context. This is specifically for the BMP-02 that you're seeing on the screen here. The slot-mounted sensor, you're seeing it on the left in a small pneumatic cylinder, and on the right, you're seeing it being used in a gripper. We're seeing a lot of interest with this product for gripper applications for things like double sheet detection on a gripper, things like that. Here are some links for some additional information. These are all basically available on the Balluff website. All right, so moving on, this is the second of my two topics, and I want to talk to you about a hot off the press, newly released product. This is the BDG series rotary shaft encoder. What's the news here is that product is now available with an I/O link interface. So you can see on the screen here, we have had for a while now, we've offered the rotary shaft encoders, but in absolute versions and incremental versions. On the absolute side, previous interfaces included CAN bus, SSI, EtherCAT, Profinet, etc. So the addition here, what we're talking about here today, is the addition of I/O link to the availability on the absolute side. So these sensors are available in basically 6 variants. So there's 6 different mechanical variants of this product. We've got both shaft style encoders and hollow shaft, so solid shaft and hollow shaft versions of this, synchro mount, etc. You can see some of the characteristics there on your screen. Got a number of accessories that go available with this product as well. Of course, cables and mechanical couplings and flexible couplings and things like that. So, a lot of useful accessories that go along with this product. Applications for encoders. I'm not going to delve deeply into applications, but there are lots and lots of applications for rotary shaft encoders. You probably encounter them on a pretty regular basis when you're visiting your customers. This example is just a bottle filling application. So the encoder is monitoring the position of a bottle before it gets labeled so that the label gets placed in the proper position. Lots of conveyor belt applications for this product. So be on the lookout for these, and you know, you talk to your customers about the addition and of I/O link as an interface for these products. Target markets, it's going to be all over the place, frankly. You're going to see a lot of rotary encoders used in automotive assembly, packaging, lots of stuff in packaging, a lot of metalworking, metal stamping type applications, and then also in intralogistics. Just to sort of orient you a little bit, when you go looking for these products, you're going to find these products on the Balluff website. The way that the path I've outlined here is products, sensors, encoders, and then absolute encoders. And once you get there, you can filter down by interface, select I/O link, and you're going to see the 6 different mechanical variations that I mentioned. And when you select one of those variants, you're going to get into basically a configurator screen, and you're going to be able to configure whatever it happens to be configurable with that particular series. And in most cases, it's just really mainly the shaft size is what you're configuring on any given encoder variant. So really simple configuration, and the configurator is going to spit out a complete part number for you and a MSRP price, a list price. Just some quick questions and answers. Are these I/O link encoders available with also in incremental versions? Nope. They are absolute versions only. The resolution of the IO-Link rotor encoders is going to be 16 bits, up to 16 bits for single turn and up to 43 bits for multi-turn. Condition monitoring functionality of these sensors, temperature, operating hours, power supply voltage monitoring, those are the kind of condition monitoring features that we've built into this. And are these encoders compatible with other IO-Link products? Well, of course they are. This is IO-Link. That's one of the benefits of IO-Link. And so they're fully compatible with really any IO-Link system. And that would also include non-Balluff IO-Link masters. And if you have any questions about this, need any help with these products, have any applications you want to discuss, you're welcome to, and I would encourage you to contact me. We can talk about this. We're looking for opportunities for these new products, and I'm here to help. So with that, I think that's a wrap for us. I saw that there were some questions coming in, but I don't know exactly what they were yet. So
Yep,
we'll cover
we got a couple of questions that came in, Scott. So I'll cover off on mine, and you can read through and see if any of them are applicable to you. But yeah, we did get one good question about the measurement tool, and it's a common one, so I think it's worth discussing quickly. And that question is, how accurate is the measurement tool? And the short answer, as with most things in vision, is it depends. It depends on the field of view. So we are going to output, if you output any sort of value for that tool, it's going to output a pixel value. So it's not going to output in millimeters or inches. It's just going to output how many pixels between the two tools, and then, or a pass fail, right? So if the distance, you set the distance, then you are out of spec, then you fail, or in spec and you pass. But to answer the question, best case scenario, I'd say if you take 0.1 millimeter is about the best you can get with a small field of view. And then I also posted into that Q&A a link to what barrel distortion looks like. So to get the very best results, you want a small field of view, and you want to look at the very middle of the field of view where the distortion is minimal, because on the edges of the image you have a little more distortion. So if you measure towards the outside of the image, the measurement is going to seem larger to the imager than it would at the middle of the field of view. So the short answer is it depends, but yeah, definitely worth testing, and we're happy to help with that. I think a couple other questions probably were already answered, and just looking through, obviously, if anybody does have any additional questions, the Q&A is open as well as the chat. And of course, we're all open book, so feel free to reach out to any of us directly. But Scott, I'm not sure, was that one question for you? Did you want to, or is that something to come back to later?
Unless I'm missing it, Rob, I don't see a question based on anything I talked about, but maybe I'm missing it. Let me see. Hang on.
I do see also, Jordan had a good question about the radar imager. Any updates on that? No, I'd say talk to your local sales engineer. We have a product available for basically testing at this point, but it's not available for sale yet in this market. So talk to your local sales engineer, and we'll broadcast more information when it's broadly available for sale. That's a good question too. But yeah, we don't have any specific information to share today on that product. And I think that covers it. So I think we'll leave it here. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your efforts with Balluff and sharing this in the successes with us. Appreciate your time, your effort, and let's go sell some Balluff. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.